Well, hello, internet friends near and far. Welcome to another episode of Parks and Conversation. This is an episode where we watch an episode of Parks and Recreation,
And then we talk about it.
We do that. Hi, Jeremy.
I said it.
You did it. You did it. Today is a great day. I don't know if you've noticed this, but this would be 3 weeks in a row that we were able to record something. So
some would call that a streak.
Some would. And I don't want to jinx it, but I think we may be on a streak of at least 3 episodes recorded in a row, week after week.
Hey, heads up. I might not be able to record next week.
That's all right.
Okay. That was fun.
Fine.
It's a good streak.
I when does a streak start? Is it at 3?
Yeah. Because 1 or 2 is just like, okay, but can you do it again? The third one, that's the start of the streak.
I remember many, many seasons of watching the Mariners where you got really excited with a one game winning streak.
A 1 game winning streak. We did it. This is it. We're going to break out. Oh,
we won this game. One game at a time, guys. One game at a time.
Marinered so hard on that one.
It looks like they're doing pretty good in spring training right now, which is encouraging.
All right.
So I think we're up for an exciting sports season here at the in the old Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
We've got the Blazers blazing.
The Seattle Sea Dragons.
The Sea Dragons are definitely playing a game.
Dragon dead last.
They're definitely showing up though every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't get credit if you don't show up, is what I keep telling my students. So same thing with the Sea Dragons. They're getting credit. They're showing up. The Mariners are going to be good. The Seahawks have the like greatest draft opportunities ahead of them in a generation. I mean, there's so many good things, so many exciting things. The Kraken are not terrible.
They're not.
So, I mean, it's exciting.
Things are happening.
The NBA may come back to Seattle someday, but who knows when? Who knows when?
I don't.
Okay. Well, you're taller, so I thought maybe they talked to you about stuff.
Well, I can see further, but I just can't see that far out.
Yeah. So in the meantime, we just keep watching the shows we've always watched.
Yeah.
Like this episode of Parks and Recreation, season 6, episode 14, anniversaries. Jeremy, what's the general synopsis of this episode? How would you sum it up?
Oh, and I would say that Ben tries to out Leslie. And let's see, but gets Gerry involved somehow. So that's cool. And then April has kind of a weird online. April is learning to be a manager, I guess, just to sum it up. And then what was the last one? I'm really confused. There's so many colors.
Yeah, Leslie is trying to help people see.
Oh, that's right. The merger should be good.
Merger was a good thing. But people are not buying it. So, yeah. So that's basically what's happening here. This is if we look at our IMDb machine, this episode is rated 7.9. Last week's episode was like 8.6. Something like that.
8.6 or 8.8.8?
8.2. Yeah, it was
absurdly high.
It was rated really high. This is rated lower. This is a C+ episode. And I just don't think that's accurate. So
you think this breaks into the 8s?
I think it should be in the 8 range, mainly because of Derry Merbles.
Oh, yeah. Well, and not just Derry, but his co-host.
Augustus Clementine. Yeah. I mean, this is, anytime they get into Pawnee Public Radio, I am thrilled that that's going to be a thing.
I kind of wish they do like WKR. What was it?
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Like, or news radio, right?
Oh my goodness.
Like if they did that with a Pawnee spinoff.
Yeah, I'm for it. If they just did a series about the Pawnee Sphere Media Complex.
Right, exactly.
I mean, there's so much good stuff. I mean, we got Joan on this one. We got public radio.
Yeah.
There's no Purd, but we had some Purd last week. So
no reporter, no
Shauna Malloy tweet.
Shauna Malloy tweet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
it'd be good.
The show that you introduced Kathy and I to, that Welcome to Flatch.
Mm-hmm.
That reporter in that show has strong Shauna Malloy tweet vibes.
Yeah.
And now it makes sense. Like, oh, you're the only one working at that paper.
Yeah.
And now Purd is probably the only person on the news channel. And Joan is the only like daytime talk show person.
Yeah, no one's checking their copy. They're just, that's why Purd's,
It's all starting to make sense though. Like this is all just like public access, pay to play media. Like Joan somehow probably like got hit by a car and has a huge like John Ralphio like size windfall. So she just pays all these people just for her own vanity. As I said that, the scene of Joan from this show came on. It was pretty funny. So because IMDb just kind of plays the show now, I guess.
Yeah. You don't need to listen to this podcast. Just go to IMDb.
It's like a lot of the shows
watch the clips
right in front of me. Anyway, so let's start with April and
let's just listen to you watch the show on IMDb. It's a clip show.
It's a director's commentary. It's a fan's commentary.
It's a fan's, yeah.
Man, why don't they make more of those?
It's the fan cut.
Oh man, if I could get into making commentaries for movies, I think I'd be pretty good at it.
Only one way to find out.
I love this movie. This is one of my favorite parts.
Oh man, I wish you guys could see this. Oh, you're watching it.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with April's plotline.
Okay.
All right. It's the shortest. So let's start there. April is with Ron at the animal control center. What would you call that?
The shelter. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ron wants to get a dog because the girls want him to pick out a dog that looks exactly like the drawing that they made.
Mm-hmm.
And he hands it to April, and April says, "So you want a dog that's like a banana made of spiders," which is a good description of the drawing. And Ron, he holds nothing back and says, "Children are terrible artists, and artists are crooks." And this very Ron direct language here, and that's important for Ron's part of the story. He doesn't hold anything back.
Have you ever seen, this is being that it's a totally a visual medium of a podcast. Have you seen the artists? There's at least one guy that will take children's drawings, but then they'll Photoshop it into like a 3-dimensional horror object. Like it looks real. So it would be, what would that dog really look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the shape of banana with like spiders growing off of it.
Yeah.
They're wonderful.
Now with AI,
right,
you can make that happen.
You don't even need Photoshop skills. I
don't know how to do it. I don't know. Like people keep posting these pictures of like AI art that they made of themselves as like astronauts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't put the link to where they made that.
Oh, you have to use AI to get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a whole meta thing.
All right. Have you seen, I found the best Twitter thread. Listener, stop what you're doing right now and just go to Twitter and just yell at it. You'll find it. Just yell at your phone, like everybody seems to be doing on Twitter right now. But there was a thread of presidents, like paintings, the painting style of presidents. The description is, what if the presidents were awesome and they all had mullets? And there is an image for all 46 presidents. It is worth it. It's so awesome. Joe Biden looks rad. And Dwight Eisenhower is spooky. So it's worth it. It's worth it.
Sweet.
Yeah. So check it out. Anyway, so April has a good dog idea for Ron that does not look like a banana made with spiders. But it's a good, handsome dog, and Ron's gonna take him. And April wants Donna to help with the paperwork, but Donna's not there. And instead, there's a note that from Donna that says, "Why lie? I'm shopping. Back in an hour." And April is very, very frustrated with Donna because April is in charge of animal control now, and that's the shelter is a part of that. And now she sees her coworker and her friend just blown off work, and she's like, I don't know what to do. So it's frustrating. Um, and so cut back to the parks office, and April comes into Ron's office and picks up the landmine on his desk and asks if this is still functional. And Ron like freaks out. And he's like, partly why? And April wants to blow up Donna's desk to teach her a lesson. And Ron is like, no, that's not a good idea. What you need is to be mature and direct and firm. Look her in the eyes, say what you need from her. And so April thinks about it, and then cut to Donna yelling at her computer because some fool just slammed her on Yelp. And so we have a talking head of April saying, I took Ron's advice and I maturely and straightforwardly left anonymous comments about Donna on Yelp. So that is a great solution. I think April is definitely learning important lessons here. And so Donna reads the quote. Jeremy, would you read the quote? What did this person say? This terrible person on Yelp, this fool.
Stopped by to adopt a dog, but the employee, Donna Meagle, was nowhere to be found. Thanks for nothing, Donna Meagle. Boo. Did I do boo long enough? Because that was for 5 O's.
Yeah, the boo has 5 O's.
Boo.
Yeah. Oof. Not good.
No.
Not good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So Donna then is very upset, and so she's like, this person thinks they can just hide behind some anonymous username, and she's like, I'm gonna hunt this person down. And so she begins the hunt and brings in IT, and the IT guy is able to locate that the IP address from this user came from City Hall, and Donna is getting madder and madder. And April's like, who cares? It's just some dumb person. Ignore it. And Donna can't. She's about to go Mjolnir up in here.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see that word, the name of Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, I just don't know how the Norwegians do it.
Speak?
Yeah.
It is not an easy word to say.
Right. That if the J...
Mjolnir.
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 Mjolnir. Mjolnir.
Yeah. It's a cool name. I mean, it's cool that a hammer has its own name, especially as like, impressive as that.
Yeah. Are you not naming your tools at home?
Well, I have a hammer. Its just name's Doug. It performs pretty much like you would think a Doug would. It's dependable. Does its job.
I can't believe you named your hammer Doug. And
well, I know. Well, my shovel
should be named Doug.
No. My shovel name is Pat. So, because that's what you pat the dirt back down when you're done digging.
All right. All right. I would just flip them, personally.
You're never supposed to rename your tools. It's bad luck.
I didn't know that. I thought there was like a tradition that you go out in the ocean and rotate your tool 3 times, like on a boat, and then like come back in.
Yeah, these aren't seafaring tools. You don't want to tempt the fates.
You're not digging out the ocean?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So, yeah. So Donna's mad. She's getting Mjolnir up in here. And Ron has this idea to be like Yelp, but with letters and paper. And so he gets to typing and he starts composing strongly worded letters about disapproval about things. And so instead of using the internet to actually send these things, he uses it to find the addresses for a vegetable farm, several European ambassadors, a manufacturer of male cologne, and a non-fat frozen yogurt bar. and the vegetable farm, as you're watching, is to Connie's cabbage. And he's writing like, if you read, it's like, it looks like he's saying something to the effect of like, make better life decisions. So Connie's been through enough. I mean, she almost sold herself and her dignity to sell some cabbage a couple episodes ago. So I think Ron needs to lay off Connie's cabbage. But anyway,
What would you, if you could write to something, you thought it would do some good, what would you, so, and something that's relatively like ridiculous, what would you write? Who'd you write to? Like, what do you have beef with? Like, I'll start. There's a company, there's a business around the corner from me that's had the same street sign, like their letterboard sign, and it says now accepting new clients. And it's been up for probably 10 years. So they're always
is it that church?
No, it's like a law. It's like a tax preparation plan. I don't know. And it's just, I just want to write to them and say, change your sign. All businesses should be accepting clients. And if they're not, just change your sign. Like, it bothers me.
Well, it's not that it's untrue.
No, I know, but it just says like, you do not have enough clients. Like that's what you're going to, like a letterboard. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Make it permanent then. Why have changeable letters if you're just going to have the same message up?
Oh, probably because they lost the key to the letterboard changer.
They lost all their letters.
Yeah, they're like, these are all the letters we have. So unless you can scramble up a new message, you're good at Wordle. Figure something out.
Yes. Why don't you put up a new Wordle thing every day? Like just where people driving by. Like
that would be funny.
Yes. And then people go, oh, wow, that's a cool place. I should give them business.
Man, today's Wordle, and you're listening to this listener well after, so I'm just going to say the word was squat. SQUAT. And you get 6 chances, right? And I had A and T in the wrong places in my first guess. And then my next guess, I ended up with an S. But it was in the wrong places. So then I was like trying to put things in the right place. I used all 6 guesses because I never remember that Q and U could possibly be in the middle of a word.
Right.
So yeah, I was pretty frustrated.
Sorry that happened to you.
Pretty frustrated. Yeah. Anyway, if I could write a letter to anything that I had beef with, I would probably go with the construction in Tacoma.
Oh, it's been going on since I was born.
Yeah, it never ends, and it's always terrible. And so I think that's probably the route I would go.
Okay, I like that.
Just dear Tacoma,
stop.
Why don't you just build a bridge over the whole city? That's what we all want.
I joke that as soon as they get done with construction, that they're going to have to go back to the beginning and start all the way over again because it's going to be sold.
That's not a joke.
I know.
That's the reality. Every time they finish, they're like, you know what? We need to add another lane. Where are you going to put another lane? And it's so dumb. It's like a snake ate a giraffe. Like you come into Tacoma on 2 lanes on both sides, and then it just balloons around like a windy area, which is too crowded to be ballooning like that. And if everybody would just drive, we'd get through it. We would get through it, Jeremy. But people don't drive. They just stop. And they're like, I wonder if I should go to the Poodle Dog Cafe. And the answer is no, not today. Just keep going, Florence. It's so annoying. And that's not even in Tacoma proper. That's in Fife.
That is Fife. Yep.
Oh, man. All these people who listen from Brazil. I'm sorry. I hope this is just so you can get like an English credit or something, because this is not good podcasting. It's just us complaining.
I just wanted to see what you would complain about. Honestly, that's what this whole podcast has been.
Oh well, I got grievances.
We're done. It's all over.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Back to
Let's keep going.
Right.
This is the shortest plot line, and I think it's going to take the longest time. All right. And then Donna calls in Kyle into the office. Kyle, who does not work at Parks, but does work in the city hall. She's like, I know what you did, troll. You wanted to adopt a cat last week. And I said, no, because I thought it was too sad for you to have 6 cats. And then he's like, you tried to blow up my spot online. You're fired. Kyle's great. Like, you're not my boss. I work for the city's attorney's office. And I was like, no, you are fired. And April's in the background watching all this happen, and like is like, woof, Donna is mad. And then Ron comes out. It's like, how much postage does it take to send a letter to Canada? Who's it to? Canada. It says, dear Canada, bleep you. Oh man. Yeah, fun times. Fun times. Ronald.
I like Canada.
I do too. I do too. I had a student who was from Canada. Like they live here now. And I was talking about how they had one of their assignments, they have to do an interview with somebody. And I was like, in the paper, wanted them to actually like have evidence of an interview. Like, I want to know that you talked to a real person, not your girlfriend who lives in Canada or your boyfriend who went to a different summer camp or whatever. And the student from Canada was like, come on now, don't make fun of Canada. It's like, I'm not making fun of Canada, I'm making fun of liars. Anyway, so Ron, back in the office, a man comes in looking for Ron. And this turns out this person is a vegan. He owns a vegan restaurant, and Ron nailed a letter to his door like Martin Luther. And the letter said, veganism is the sad result of a morally corrupt mind. Reconsider your life. And Ron's like, well, I believe that. And the dude's just like, carnivores, you're all the same. And April is amazed. Like, how does he know where to find you? And Ron's like, I put my name and address on the bottom of the letter and I nailed it to his door. And April is surprised like that he would use his real name. He's like, of course, what's going to happen? A vegan is going to physically attack me. They're basically made of glass. But if you believe in something, you sign your name to it, which is why the makers of carbonated water will soon know exactly where to find me. And then, so April's like, Ron is so wise. And she goes and confesses to Donna that Kyle didn't write those things. It was her. And Donna's like, I know. I checked what else the person had written, and it was a funeral home that said great first date spot. So Kyle was just a ruse to get to see what April would do. And so they talk. April says, sorry for not talking to you directly. Donna says, sorry for bailing on work and then toying with you instead of just coming at you straight. And so they're like, cool, from now on, we're going to talk to each other. And April's first step is to say that Donna's lipstick looks weird. And Donna tells her to shut her mouth. And that's that plot line. That's over now.
Good talk.
Good talk. Good talk. I do love anytime Ron is like, I'm gonna write some things. And right, I don't mean like WRITE. Like, he wants to bring justice and correction into the world.
Correct.
But he does that through writing on his typewriter. I love it. I love it so much. So, so let's jump over to the Leslie storyline, because Leslie and Ben's story, they diverge here, and it starts with Leslie and Ben talking at their home as Leslie's reading the newspaper, and as this small newspaper is probably just looking to fill some columns. They have an anniversary section, and their 1 year anniversary is the day after Leslie's reading this, and so she's reading the newspaper and talking about their situation. Like, the bride wore a gown made by her friend Anne, and the groom wore a butt so perfect it could make an angel hang himself. Whoa. Which is intense. So Leslie wrote it, of course, for herself. And so they have these rules for the anniversary. First, 100, at least 100 kisses, dinner at 7, and no gifts. And because Ben can never outgift Leslie, and Leslie says, like, I love giving him gifts because it's always a huge surprise, and he makes this big stupid face. And so, but then Ben's like, I got the most amazing gift ever, and I'm going to surprise her because I'm going to give it to her today, 1 day early, and she will make the stupid face. So that's Ben's plan, is to give the gift a day early. But Leslie's a very busy person. She is not going to sit around and do nothing. So she starts her very busy day by going to the public radio station where they sit around and do nothing. And the person who reads the sounder for the uh the radio station, I'm just going to read it because I love it so much, because I listen to quite a bit of NPR, and it's just too perfect. Additional support for Pawnee Public Radio comes from Edgar C. and Janice R. Lumway Foundation and the Richard and Lois Wallenberg Foundation, dedicated to the idea that all human beings deserve a chance to hear about foundations. Which is basically what it sounds like every time you turn on NPR. Like, this is all brought to you by these people who had a lot of money and are looking for a tax shelter. So, and Derry Merbles is the host. Derry Merbles is played by the same man who gives us the voice of Homer Simpson and many other characters on The Simpsons. And Frank Castaneda, something like that. And so he's hosting Thought for Your Thoughts. But he's also there with his Eagletonian co-host, Augustus Clementine, played by the PC.
Oh, I see what you did.
John Hodgman, John Hodgman is excellent at being John Hodgman. I have yet to see him in character of anything else. Have you?
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I'm like, what else? No, he pretty much plays John Hodgman.
Yeah. I mean, he is a personality. And so they bring John Hodgman in when there's like, who can we get that has big John Hodgman energy? And
what about John Hodgman?
A little too on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Then they call him and they say, will you do this? And he's like, I'm doing nothing else.
What if he has like a handlebar mustache? Like, what if he had twisted up at the end?
Yeah. So that's his big move. Like, sometimes he grows a little handlebar mustache and a little goatee situation. Other times he just is clean shaven, like when he's the PC, right? I don't think he had a mustache back then.
No, yeah.
And, but it's always the same. It's always the same. He has a book. He has several books, but in his first book, The Areas of My Expertise, which I highly recommend, it's very funny. It's basically just all made up facts. The appendix is like 1,000 hobo names.
Wow.
Just thinking about it, it's so funny because I listened to it on audiobook, and I was listening to it on a CD in my car years ago before I had a way to listen to it on my phone and pause. And I had to run inside a building, like a house or something, and drop something off and then come out. And I just left my car running. And I came out and the story kept going. Like, he just kept talking. And then I didn't realize how close I was to the end, but fell into the appendix. And I'm just driving around, and he's like I can't even think of the names. They were so weird. And I was like, what's happening right now? What is Hodgman doing?
Driving around just blasting hobo names out your window.
Yes. Yeah. There's a whole section on like hobo rules and how like Teddy Roosevelt was the first hobo president. It's so good. And how like the media covered up that fact that Teddy Roosevelt had a hook for a hand. It's so good. It's so good. It's such a good book. And it's read by John Hodgman. So anyway, Augustus and Derry do not get along. And so as they're working through let's just read some of their dialogue, Jeremy.
Oh, I'm for it.
Who do you want to be?
Oh, I'll definitely be. You've got the better Derry Merbles.
Okay. All right. I got to get into that drollness.
All right, here we go.
I did get I listener, I did go to college with a drama scholarship, so prepare yourself.
Like when you try to get your scholarship, it was really hard to get.
Yeah.
Full of just a lot of drama.
I just threw a fit.
I had to go to the registrar.
$1,000.
Sorry. That's what I think of every time somebody says a drama scholarship. It's like, oh, you're so dramatic, they gave you money.
Yeah, exactly right. There's one of Kathy's friends in college. She was always hurt. That's what I just thought of when you said they just were so dramatic. They just gave you money. The first time I met her was in the bookstore. She was on crutches before school even started, and I'm not trying to make fun of people on crutches, but like, she didn't need them. She just had them. It's like, what happened to you? She's like, I fell down. I'm like, oh, did you break anything? No.
No.
She's like, it just hurts. It's so amazing.
Just hurt. Just
Anyway.
like just woke up one day. I got an owie leg.
It was so wonderful. And like one of Kathy's closest friends throughout the whole nursing program. It was so amazing. Every time there was something going on with her. So anyway. All right. Welcome to Thought for Your Thoughts. I'm Pawneean host Derry Merbles.
And I'm your Eagletonian host, August Clementine.
Yes, if you have not heard that was awful. Our program in a while, Thought for Your Thoughts, now has a co-host thanks to the Pawnee-Eagleton Merger.
I believe that is the Eagleton-Pawnee Merger. Nespas? Did I say that right?
I have no idea.
Nespas?
It's French.
Yeah. Who cares?
I'd like to apologize to our listeners for my co-host's sudden and violent outburst just now. Our guest is former city councilwoman Leslie Nope. Leslie, thought?
For your thoughts? Why did I do Derry Merbles?
No, you do say it's Augustus.
No, I know, but I said it like I was trying to sound for whatever reason. See,
Okay.
if I ever went overseas, I would come back with an accent and be that person.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
Yeah. I said it.
Absorb the aggression, Derry. Absorb the aggression. So it's basically this back and forth with them. One of my favorite. So Leslie's trying to convince people that the Eagleton is a good idea. Or the merger is a good idea. And like even this, like, you know, you guys are creating a arcane, quiet ball of fun with this tension here. And as they're talking, one of my favorite things is you could see Augustus like scooting his folder over to Derry's side of the table, and Derry like pushing it back and like getting more and more angry. And it's just so great. So good. And Leslie's like, you know, yeah, there were some bumps and bruises, a brief rash of arson, a rather large scale brawl at the dump. But overall, the state of the merger is very strong.
Scoff.
Did you just say scoff? Augustus, scoff. So good. So stupid. Derry says like this has been fraught with antipathy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Antipathy. For example, I now have to share my studio with a fatuous twerp who shall remain nameless.
This twerp has a name, and it's August Ngutu Leibowitz Clementine.
Leibowitz Clementine. Ngutu. So yeah, it's going great there. So then come back around and they're doing calls, and the first caller is like, yeah, ever since the merger, we've had a trash problem. And it's like, yeah, there's been some hiccups in sanitation. And she's like, the caller's like, no, I mean, Eagletonians are human garbage.
Kapow. Got him.
And then another one is calls in, is like, I like the merger, but I hate that Eagleton was forced to join Pawnee. And Leslie's like, oh, well, that is what the merger is. Like, oh, then yeah, I guess I hate the merger. And then another caller comes in, is like, I think the merger was great. And I think Leslie Nope did an amazing job. And Leslie's like, I don't know who this is, but I agree. It's Andy. Hey, I'm on the radio. And that's the end of the episode. And so then that's all we have for today for Thoughts for Your Thoughts. I'm Derry Merbles.
And I'm August Clementine, and I talked last. Good day.
So good.
So petty.
Yes, they are the best. So yeah, so the radio is going great. And then back in the office, Tom and Leslie are talking, and Leslie like, Tom says, don't be upset. No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great.
Hey, this is a podcast.
I totally agree with Tom. Podcasts are great. And so, you know, Leslie's like, I just wanted to help get a win here, paint a picture of the light at the end of the tunnel. And she's getting super stressed. And Gerry comes like, hey, can I have something special for you? And we'll get to that later. But Leslie just punts him away, like, go away, Larry. We don't have time for you. I think you should leave. And so he does. And then Leslie is like, I just wish Pawnee was more like Ben and I, and how happy we are. while Ben is trying to be very, romantic and celebrate their love. Leslie is focused on animosity, which is fun. And Andy is reading the paper and he's like, yeah, by the way, I was going to mention, you guys look really old in this picture. And on the anniversary section, there's another couple who have been married for 50 years, Rosie and Doug DeMarco. That is a picture of the elderly couple of Rosie and Doug DeMarco. But it turns out that Rosie is from Pawnee and Doug is originally from former Eagleton.
Uh-oh.
And they've been married 50 years. And Leslie's like, this is a perfect symbol of how our towns can get along. And then she starts getting excited and she's like, ooh, I'm getting the epiphany sweats. So, so she's excited. She's got a plan. So they go to the DeMarco's house with a giant document that looks like a check. And Tom points out that the last time they scared an old person, Larry had a heart attack. So this might not be a good idea. And Andy just laughs and he's like, that was so awesome. He farted so much. So they knock on the door and Rosie's like, can I help you? And it's like, yeah, we're here. Saw your announcement in the newspaper. We'd love to treat you and your husband to a very special day. And then Doug walks up and he's like, all right, how much did we win? And let's like, oh, there's no money. It's a golden anniversary celebration. And Rosie is like, oh, so no money? And she starts closing the door. So, but yeah, it's a giant check and it just doesn't say any money on it at all. And so, but Leslie is like, fine, we'll give you some money. Everybody give them some money. And so they go into their pockets and start handing them stuff. And Andy had football cards and a travel mouthwash. So happy anniversary.
It was used mouthwash too.
Yeah. So they go back to the church where Doug and Rosie were married. And they're like, let's recreate your photo from 50 years ago. So going up there and Doug, I mean, we're just seeing how great they are together. Like, yeah, let's live that day. Only this time, could we shave her mustache? So, not super great. And Leslie is realizing that these two might not be great on live TV. They're kind of grumpy. And Tom has maybe the realest moment in all of his life when he starts saying, why are we wasting time with these old people? They're like the old version of iTunes. We're like the new version of iTunes, baby. We're going to be here forever. Oh my God. I'm going to die someday. That was profound. I'm going to die someday.
I love existential Tom Haverford.
We don't even call it iTunes anymore. It's just called music. On your phone, on your computer, it's just music.
I loved iTunes so much.
It was good for a long time.
It was. Rest in peace.
Yeah. So Tom's gonna die someday, and I think that's the last we hear from him.
Mm-hmm.
So and then Leslie's like, all right, well, I hope these two deep down still love each other while they're up there taking their photo. And Rosie says, hey, no touching. This isn't your birthday. Ooh, yikes. So then they are going to Pawnee today with Joan. And Leslie's like, oh, this is so exciting. You guys are professing your love on television. And Doug asks for water. And Rose's like, don't give him any because every time he drinks them, he goes, ah. And Doug says every time she always does this annoying thing where every time she takes a drink of water, she's an old nag.
Dude, Doug has no chill. Jeez.
No, none at all. These two are just locked into a knife fight where they've like tied their wrists together, like in West Side Story.
Right.
And it's really just who's going to die first.
Yeah, because aren't there traditions where they actually tie people's like during the marriage ceremony?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
they're stuck.
But we never find out about the next part, which is the knife fight. So
yeah, that doesn't really
today I learned.
That doesn't sell a lot of bridal catalogs and magazines. But if you go to the airport, you'll see that those bridal catalogs are also right next to like Field and Stream.
That's true.
And Hunters and Knives, so it's all connected.
It's your bridal knife set.
It's like, oh, for dinner and stuff. No,
yeah. You'll see.
In a way. So Joan comes in And it's like, all right, let's burn this candle. And Joe's like, Leslie's trying to like, hey, we may need a minute. It's like, no, we got to go. The uppers are kicking in, and I just took some blues to smooth it out. So I'm right in that sweet spot. So Joan's amazing. And then Rosie, it looks at Doug and like, are you sure you want to go on television? You look like a leather glove got caught in a lawnmower. So this is going so well. So well. And so Leslie is like, hey, if you guys could just think as you're going on, just look back at the last 50 years and focus on the good times, okay? So cut to Joan, and they're on the set, and they ask, how did you first meet? And Rosie's like, well, it was 1963, and we met, and it was great. And Leslie's like, isn't love grand? 50 years of marriage, helping bridge to the meaningless divide between Pawnee and Eagleton. And so Joan then's like, no, my show, my questions. So what's the secret sauce that we should be putting on our marriage burgers? And Doug's like, never go to bed angry. And Joe's like, I never would have thought of that. Which I totally believe from Joan. I never would have thought of that. And Rosie's had enough. She's like, look, you can keep your money. And she's like,
well, because Doug takes a drink of water right after that.
Yeah. That's it. You can keep your money. And Joan's like, what are you talking about? And Doug says, she offered us $200 each to keep this going, but it's impossible. You want to know why we got married? He's like, well, you want to know why we got married? I had no prospects, and Dougie here had an alcohol problem. Plus, the Cold War was happening, and frankly, we all thought we were going to die. And Doug, like, I thought I could really tick off my parents by shacking up with some Pawnee trash. So it's going great. And then let's like, well, we all agree marriages have their ups and downs, but we look back because it's worth it, right? And then she's like, who likes tap dancing? And she starts tap dancing. And then Doug's like, I slept with Sharon in 1979. And Rosie, I used to get out of the shower in front of your brother on purpose. So they're great. They're great. And so then
I think they're going to make it
well. Cut to the office, and Danny is trying to console Leslie again. Who cares? They're old people. They eat, they sleep, they complain, and they watch Family Feud. Oh, I want to be an old person. And then Leslie's like, I don't know what to do. I wish Ben was here. What is he doing right now? And then we'll see. Ben is having the time of his life. Then later at dinner, you know, we should go back to Ben here. Let's pause. Let's go back to what Ben has been up to. All right.
Okay.
So this is the green color, listener, if you're following along at home. So Gerry and Ben are in what I believe is part of Ben's office complex, setting up a romantic meal area. And Jerry's like, thank you for letting me be a part of this. And planning your day. It's going to be so much fun. And Ben's like, all right, yeah, it's going to be great. But you need to, lips are sealed. No, she can't know about what's going on. She has to make that stupid face. Do you understand? And Jerry's like, yeah, absolutely. And Ben is like, has a talking head where he's like, I asked Larry's help because he has the most successful marriage of anyone I know to a gorgeous woman, which honestly is still a mystery to me. Like, was it a hypnosis accident or something where they put Gail under and made her fall in love with Larry and never said the magic word to snap her out of it? Like, if I say nutmeg, will she wake up and start screaming?
What if she's been severed? Like in Severance.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
It's a second life. Like, she doesn't even know what her real life is.
So is this her innie then, or her outie?
I'm going to go with outie.
You think Gail married to Gerry is her outie?
No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it would probably have to be her innie that's not in a building somewhere. Yeah. And listener, if you haven't seen it yet, Severance, once again, amazing show. It was starring Ben Wyatt.
Adam Scott is his real name.
That is his real name.
Yeah. So Gerry, you know, we saw Gerry try to get Leslie to leave her work to come and be a part of what Ben is doing. And we cut to Ben laying down on a massage table, and here's a door open and says, stop where you are, take your clothes off. It's a couple's massage. And he looks up, and there's Gerry, who looks like he is actually trying to take his shirt off. Jerry was like, "What's happening? Where's Leslie?" And you're like, "Well, she was really stressed out, and then she yelled at me and said she was too busy to come. And since you had her said not to tell her the secret under any circumstances," and Ben's like, "Oh, that's really terrible. That's the danger of doing things early, I guess. Should I text her and try again?" He's like, "Why don't you get your massage and hopefully you can get it for the next thing."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Yeah, I am really tense lately. Just thinking about the new Star Wars sequel. I'm afraid they're going to rely too heavily on CGI. Carrying it all on my shoulders."
And even Jerry's look was just like, "Oh man, come on."
I love Ben. Like, I'm carrying it all on my shoulders.
Spoilers, they do use a lot of CGI.
But not not too much. The more I think about it, the more I like The Last Jedi. I think it's a great movie.
Okay.
I said it.
All right. We'll just wait for the next. All they need to do is get the next 3 to come out, and then everyone will love the last 3.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know why, but YouTube is putting a lot of Mark Hamill trying to explain away things that Rian Johnson did. And I was like, Mark Hamill, you're making me like you less. What are you doing? Just let the movie be the movie. You're not in charge.
It's done.
Anyway,
move on. Yeah.
So then the massage person was like, "Well, you did pay for a couple, so do you?" And Ben looks up with, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but Larry, would you like to get a couples massage with me?" And Jerry's just like, I would love to." So they do the massage, and then later, they're out in the parking lot, and Ben is dressed up like a fancy lad, and he's in a fancy cart, and turns out it's about Enchanted. Because it's one of Leslie's favorite movies, and he watched it 3 times to get all the details right, and then another 2 times because that movie's amazing.
I don't think
And
I've ever
Jerry
seen it. Have you
agrees.
seen it?
No. This whole section just doesn't relate to me at all, except for Ben tries to get Leslie to come out and is like, "Hey, you want to grab lunch together? Yeah, I'm out front, super casual."
Come out to here and
Come to the front area.
Come to the front area to here.
And Leslie's like, "No, I can't. I'm not even in my office. I'm trying to save the merger." So this is while she's out with the DeMarcos trying to get that all squared away. And Ben is bummed. He's like, "I guess it's not too late to cancel the waffle buffet or the Hillary impersonator, but a lot of deposits were non-refundable." And so then Ben just like, "Hey, Larry, you up for a boys' day out on a horse-drawn carriage?" And so the Jerry's in, and they're going to ride around in this cart together. Thus begins our enchanted adventure. And then they both agree that the music in that movie is amazing. And Ben says, "Good sir, tally ho." And Jerry's like, "That's from the movie." It's definitely from the movie. So then we get little scenes sprinkled throughout of their day together. One is at a cooking show where Gerry teaches Ben the trick with paella is to use just enough saffron to complement the shellfish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good, I guess. I've never had paella, so I'm not really sure.
I know you need a special pan.
You've never had paella either?
No, I have not.
I don't know.
I don't even know where you would go. Like, you can't get like Red Robin paella. Like,
no, it's at Taco Bell now.
I'm in.
Taco Bell paella. The slogan is like, "You've already made several bad ideas to get here. What's one more?"
What's one more bad decision?
Yeah. Oh man, that would be so gross. Fast food paella.
Taco Bell stocking shellfish. That's a hard pass for me.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It seems like more and more places just have shrimp, like on the menu now.
They are the insects of the sea.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. The only place that I really ever get shrimp is in Roatan, Honduras.
Wow.
Not to brag.
Wow. Just pop down there every once in a while.
But my wife is allergic to crustaceans.
So you go all the way to Honduras to get away?
Yeah.
That's it. That's how allergic she is.
Yeah. She rarely comes there with me. And so I can, when I'm down there, it's like, I'm going to have all the coconut shrimp I can handle, bro. It's so good. It's so good. So then we next see them at dancing lessons, and Ben and Gerry are dancing, and they're doing a great job, having a great time. And so this day is bananas. And Ben had a great time with Gerry, Larry, Gerry, Terry, and Leslie is realizing how people are terrible. But they meet up together. They have dinner together at 7, so they're following the rule. And Leslie, like, maybe Pawneeans and Eagletonians are not made to coexist, but and Ben says, at least our merger is going well, and they're happy together. And Ben's like, you know what, you're right. And Tom and Andy are right. The DeMarcos don't matter. What matters is the future. And Leslie is like, oh, you're right. The children are our future. Whitney Houston knew it.
Mhm.
So do you. And so do I. I'm going to need your help with something. I think we should go to work. And she gets up, and Ben looks at her, and then's like, oh, but not now. We're having dinner. And she's like, man, this paella is good. Did you put saffron in here? The shellfish tastes delicious. Ben has an erstwhile gaze, I guess. Yes, it does.
I like that word, erstwhile.
I think I used it right. I just was going for it. And
Sure.
so nobody would draw attention to it.
Well, I don't know if you used it right either. It sounded good to me.
Yeah, like I don't want to say longing, but like he's reminiscing about the day.
The day.
So it was like it was fresh. So
Dinner.
It can't be nostalgia. It's nostalgia.
That was date with Gerry.
His enchanted boy's adventure. So then next day, Leslie convenes a Pawnee-Eagleton Youth Committee. And she says April thinks that young people think the word committee is lame. So think of this as a super chill, fun hangout.
Worse.
As Tom's like, worse. That's worse. Super chill, fun hangout. Ugh. And so they introduce each other, and Craig starts. I'm Craig. Samantha in the bedroom, Miranda in the Samantha in the boardroom, Miranda in the bedroom. And then this is my friend Madison. She's amazing, and she drove me here.
Craig is awesome. Craig is the best.
I want more Craig all the time now. And so I feel like they've been holding back on Craig.
I want Craig and Oren to hang out.
They would probably create a black hole or a tornado. Like when hot air and cold air mix and make a tornado. I learned about this in the National Geographic when I was at the doctor's office when I was like 8 years old. And when cold air and hot air collapse into each other, it creates a tornado, and it's strong enough to throw a straw through a brick. That's what I took away from that.
Or transport you to fairyland far away.
Yeah.
Where you get to make friends.
That too. So, So Ben is like, all right, well, you guys have a really important job. We want you to take your ideas and meet twice a week and talk through all of the different ways to make this merger stick. So we're going to order some Zaz. You get to BSing, brainstorming. And then Ben is also real cool and says, just chill. Peace out. Like the cool people do. And
right.
And then Leslie comes back. So, all right, it's been an hour from here. Looks like you've gotten to know each other. You had some fun. And you look around, and there's like tons of writing on all the whiteboards and like those big white papers with like sticky, like a big giant Post-it note all over the wall. And it's like, it looks like your first meeting was a success. And Tom's like, hold up, Sweet Pea. We have an idea. And it talks about the Unity concert, having all of these different, this music and art festival to celebrate the merger with bands from both towns. And it's like, and Andy points out it's like a giant Woodstock, except for instead of everybody rolling around in the mud, they'll be rolling around in happiness or mud. I don't know. I can't control the weather. I don't know. And then Madison has some words as well about different stages. So she's not just his chauffeur, but she's actually got ideas. So the short film festival, and Donna told Tom that she might be able to get Genuine, and that's given Tom a reason to live. Earlier, he had a recollection that he's going to die someday, and now he has a reason to live. I'm so proud of Tom. And Leslie gets completely overwhelmed and she can't even talk. And Matt's like, what's wrong with her? And April's like, that means she loves it so much she can't speak. It's like, you guys, that's like, I don't know, amazing. Like what you do there. So it's going well. And then we have one last credit scene. Ben and Leslie are together, and It is their anniversary. Ben comes in with a scrapbook of all of the things that Gerry and Ben did the day before. And she's just really impressed with all that happened and his scrapbook instincts. And, there's some room to grow, of course. And Ben's like, yes, I can't believe I actually defeated Leslie Knope at a gift exchange. And Leslie's like, well, about that. And then they cut to Ben's office where she has brought in a replica of the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones. And Ben is so stoked. And he sits on it and he's making that dumb surprise face. And he sits on the throne and then he begins to be king. Yes. No. Yes. No. So that's how he's kinging. And then he calls Leslie over. Come hither, peasant. and like Leslie is like, our starship is in trouble. He's like, listen, you don't know what you're talking about. So I don't know where that went. Like, we never see this throne again. And I wish it was Ben's regular office chair.
I think it goes back to their house, and that's where he keeps his Batman suit.
Oh man. If Ben sat in that
with his
the Batman suit
costume
while like playing like Halo or something.
No, playing Catan.
Oh yeah, yes.
Playing board games.
He is the Lord of Catan.
I am the Dark Knight of Catan.
Yes, excellent. Let me reset your router. Because that's what he did when he was wearing the thing. Give it a second, God. That's such a great episode.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny.
So, this is this episode. Jeremy, I think this episode is way funnier and way better than last week's episode. And IMDb ratings don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they could equal out each other. Like bring last week down, this one up a little bit, and I think we'd be pretty good. I think they just kind of slide into this nice, consistent, the stories are going. We know these characters, these situations are pretty funny. And nothing huge, but I do like this one because it sets up the Unity concert, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I love it when they do these big, big events because it gives everybody something to work towards, and Leslie something to freak out about because that's what she does best. And then the group, supports her, and yeah. So that was probably my favorite bit, was like, she kind of downplays the youth's ability. And is like, all right, this is good first session. We'll reconvene next week or whatever. And they're like, no, we worked, like we got ideas, man. So yeah, I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and there was the episode where Holt, the guy, comes in to take over, or to let him know that he's running against him for his, I can't remember the acronym, but for his the group that he set up for the gay and lesbian black police. And Holt is like, now I have to destroy this person. So I'm already watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and getting ready for the next series. But yeah, the whole, like, he's young, he has ideas. Like, I think the writers are trying to say, hey, like, they're not, kids can do stuff, man.
I believe it.
The end.
I believe it. Yeah.
Whitney
did I already
knew.
tell you my idea for the title for the podcast for Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I think so, but anytime we can plug it, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, listener, we're coming up to the last season of Parks and Recreation, and then we're going to continue on in the Shuriverse with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And my idea is Podcast 99. Just calling it Podcast 99.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works for me.
Right. Cool. Good. I'm glad we are in agreement. The other thought I had is, because since we are already at Parks and Conversation for this podcast, and I don't want to like change and like create a new like feed, what if we kept calling it like Podcast 99 or Brooklyn or Parks and Conversation Podcast 99?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Just keep going down
every
the
time office talk.
No, we could just call the podcast for the office the podcast.
the podcast. Oh,
why not?
Yeah, and the final one, the
good pod.
The good. Wow, so dumb but awesome. It's perfect.
And it's just colons all the way down.
All the way down. Yep, I'm for
so
it.
it'd be Parks and Conversation : podcast 99 : the podcast : the good pod.
Nailed it. And by
I'm
that
Derek.
time, those wind chimes. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Okay. Well, we got a lot to do, so we should probably stop recording this episode so we can get started on the next one.
That's right. I'm gonna go find some paella.
Yeah, whatever that is.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.